Hey everybody, it's Anita with Better Love Movement. And so I am back again today answering another question that I got via email. And if you are watching this right now on YouTube, please do me the biggest favor ever and consider subscribing to this channel. Consider subscribing, consider hitting that bell icon so you can be notified when these new videos upload. Like this video if at the end you find that it was helpful, and please share this video with anyone you believe could benefit from what we're going to talk about this evening. So I got a question in my email recently all about standards, all about a woman setting healthy standards for herself. And here's the thing that I want to tell you about standards. People will try to make you feel bad about them. They'll try to make you feel guilty about having your standards, but that's why they're called your standards. And what you need, or what is a requirement for you from a person or in a relationship, is what you need. And so I don't want you to ever let anyone, whether it's a friend, whether it's a man, whether it's a family member, your mother, an aunt, a grandmother, I don't want you to ever feel guilty about the standards that you have set for yourself. Because the truth of the matter is, people will try to make you feel guilty about the standards that you set. So here was one of the questions that I had that was emailed to me, and I'm paraphrasing, but she basically wanted to know, were her standards too high? Was she setting her standards too high? Was she being too picky? How could she know that these standards were good and healthy and reasonable? And one of the things that I've always said about your standards that you have to be really careful about is, I personally believe it would be unreasonable to set a standard that we can't meet. That's just me. I believe that if we're going to set a standard for another person, we should be able to meet it. And if we're not, then in my opinion, that's unreasonable. That's unhealthy. So, yes, here's the thing I want to tell you. Sometimes we will get a quality in a person that we ourselves do not have. And that's just kind of the luck of the draw, right? Sometimes it happens. Sometimes I meet men who are far more creative than me. I meet men who make more money than me. I meet men who have something that I technically don't mirror back. I mean, it happens. But in terms of me setting my standards and requirements, I normally don't go far out of what I can offer that man or in a relationship. And then here's the thing, ladies. Sometimes men get from me what they don't have. And that's okay too. Like, there are a lot of men who say, oh, I want a woman who can cook really well, and they can't cook a lick. Like, they can't cook at all, but they want someone who knows how to cook well and who's passionate about providing meals in a relationship or in a marriage. And that's fine. I'm perfectly okay with that. Sometimes you will give something that other person may not be able to give back, or they may give you something that you're not able to give back. And that's okay. But when we're setting our standards for ourselves, you've got to know yourself. That's the first part of this. When you're setting standards and requirements, it's important that you know yourself truly and deeply. A lot of times women have mixed results when it comes to this is because they really don't know themselves. They will set these standards and requirements based on the culture, based on what other people are saying should be the standard. Right now, I'm in a Facebook group, like a feminine leveling up Facebook group. And lots of the women in there are talking about, money and buying Birkin bags and, picking them up in a limousine and giving them money every week as a stipend and paying their bills. They're saying that that's their standard. That's their high-end standard. And truth be told, a lot of these women in this group probably are not able to provide any of that. Okay. They're not able to give anyone $1,000 a week stipend or any of that foolishness. But yet that's what they're requiring from a man in order for him to date them. So But that's the culture. That very much speaks to the culture that we're in right now. Women who say, this is the least I will expect from a man, and that is being able to spend, $1,500 on a date, or being able to, fly me out to him because he lives in LA and I live in Dallas. The average person, and here's the thing, ladies, most of the men we're meeting and we're falling in love and marrying, or we're choosing to love, I should say, and we're marrying, they're average guys. They're not in the 1% or even the 10%. Now, there's nothing wrong with wanting that. I'm not going to tell you you shouldn't want that. But I also want to be real with you. I want to be honest with you. And we're going to talk about probability. It's improbable that all of us will get a 1% or even a top 5 or 10% man. Some of us will get a great guy who makes $80,000. A great guy who's a good father, who has good morals and good character. That's what I hope most of us get. Now, we're not looking for, guys who have no ambition and no good character, or cheaters, liars. No, I don't want that for anybody. I don't want that for any woman. But most of us are not going to get a man who's, sending us $1,500 a week and flying us to New York where he lives every other week. Most of us are not getting that because there aren't that many of those type of men to begin with. So we got to be honest about that. But I want you to really search your heart and ask yourself, is some of these things that everybody else is saying that is their standard or their requirement, is that something I really need? Like, do I really need? I'm going to be frank with you. I don't need Birkin bags. Like, that doesn't impress me in the least. I don't need to be flown to New York. I mean, I'm going to be really honest here. I'm not interested in a long distance relationship whatsoever. So I wouldn't think that was exciting. I want to meet a man who is in close proximity to me. I don't want to meet a man who lives in LA, even if he could fly me out there. I don't have that type of life where I could just stop my life, fly out to LA for 3 days every other week. I just don't have that kind of life, and I don't want that kind of life. So that wouldn't interest me. Sure, it would be nice if he, of course, I mean, the expectation is that he pay for dates, that if he's interested in courting me, that he pay for dates. Those dates don't have to be $1,000 a night dates. But of course, that he be generous. Yes, that is one of my standards, that a man is generous, that he is generous with what he has, that he is willing to share what he has, and he's willing to put his best foot forward when courting me. Sure. So you really got to know yourself. You've really got to go inside of yourself and say, what do I really need? What really makes me feel good and loved and appreciated and cherished and happy, right? So for me, it is a man who gives of himself and his time. That's really important to me, as quality time is my love language. For me, it is acts of service, just doing little things to make my life easier. That feels amazing. Things like that. It's sending songs. I'm a big music person. And so a man who can send a song that expresses how he feels about me, I love that. That's an easy way, to make me smile and make me feel really good. But yeah, it's really the simple things. I like to play board games. I like to watch movies. I like to discuss, concepts and ideas. I love reading, and I love a man who can talk about all things intellectual when it comes to reading and just different topics of interest. Those are the things that really make me feel great. And if I didn't have any of that, but yet I had a man who was flying me to LA for 3 days and, taking me out to all the hot spots and then flying me back, that's kind of empty to me, but you've got to search your own heart and figure out what your standards and requirements are, but you should have them. Ladies, it is important to develop, and that's what the book is about. That's coming out in January. It's all about developing a feminine blueprint or a feminine strategy for interacting with men. And it's important that we do this ahead of time. Like, women who go out there and wing it, they just go out there with no skills, no strategy, no blueprint. They just go out there and wing it. They get hurt. they get disappointed. They get let down. It's not getting them the results that they really want. So that's what the book is all about. It is helping you to develop a strategy or create a personal blueprint for your dating and talking to and engaging with men. It's going to help you to save yourself a lot of time. That's another thing. We waste so much. I have wasted so much time on so many men that were not a good fit for me, were not really interested in me. They were time wasters. I've wasted so much time. And the reason why I wrote this book is so that you don't have to. For those of us, and maybe this isn't everybody, maybe this isn't you, but for those of women like me, feminine energy women who want to be in a healthy, happy, fulfilling relationship or marriage, yes, I want you to save yourself so much time and so much energy. I want you to interact with men that you could truly have that with, instead of just interacting and engaging with hundreds of men where 98% of them wouldn't even be a good fit for you. They're not even viable. So that's what the book is going to be. That's coming out in January. It's called Choose Well. And it is going to teach you how to create this blueprint or this strategy. I've been encouraging women to do this while they're single. That's a part of your preparation. Remember, single is not for desperation. Single is for preparation. And so this book is a part of that journey. While you're single, you're going to sit down and read it. You're going to do the 3 lists, and then you're going to do the 2 lists where you're going to set your standards and requirements, and you're going to stick to it. You're going to keep it somewhere, and you're going to review it often. So when you meet men, whether it's through apps or online or through friends or out and about, you're going to have this at the front of your mind. You know what? I met this guy at the grocery store. We exchanged numbers or we exchanged social media. I'm going to go home and I'm going to review those lists. I'm going to review those standards just to make sure that I'm on track. I'm not going to fall down that rabbit hole, let my heart come out to play until my mind says it's safe. Remember, we use this first, and then when it tells us that it's safe for our heart to come out, then we bring our heart out. But we've got to be more intentional. We've got to start dating from a place of consciousness and not just like this haphazard, I just meet people online. I just talk to them about whatever. No, we got to be a little more intentional or conscious about our dating, and we got to be in our feminine. So I'm going to touch on that a little bit in the book, but I'm going to write another book and go deeper into some of these feminine skills and feminine traits that I want you ladies to work on, because we're coming back to that. We're coming back to our feminine energy. But yes, set your standards, keep them set, know yourself, and really determine what you need, what is the least that you will accept, what is the least that you need. And some of you ladies, if you're struggling with your self-esteem or your self-worth, you got to raise your standards a little. You got to raise them a little. And I'm not saying they have to be so high, but some of you need to raise your standards a little. Here's a standard that I wish every single woman on the planet, and I put this in the book, that I wish she would set, which is you're not taking dates in your home, probably for the first 2 or 3 months. You're not allowing a man into your home, and you're not going to his home. That should be a standard I wish every woman would adhere to, which is, I don't know you. You're a stranger. That to me, while you're getting to know this man and you're doing your background check and everything else you need to do, but you're making sure it's safe to have him in your home. It's safe for you to go to his home. And especially now, it's dangerous. It can be dangerous out there. But no, this whole, we met out and then he came over. I'm like, but you don't know him. He doesn't know you and you don't know him. And so the first date you have is at your home. And it's also very low effort. It's very low effort. This person has to earn the right to be in your personal space. Yes, that this man should take you out and about. And after it is safe to do so, after you've done your due diligence, perhaps he can come to your home. But I believe that's 1, 2, 3 months. That should take some time because you don't know him. So that's a standard I wish every single woman would set. A lot of them don't, and a lot of them are using the pandemic as an excuse, but I don't care what's going on. No man that I just met sooner than 3 months is coming to my home, and I'm not going to his because it's just not safe. I don't know him, and it also screams low effort, and I am a high value woman. I am a woman who needs a man that can plan a date and come up with something, interesting or different or creative. That's what I need. So yes, I let him do that. I let him do that quite a bit until he comes to my home. So that's a standard that I wish all women would set because I believe we're all worth that. And I want all of you to be safe. That's my number one priority, is your safety and the safety of your heart. And that should be your number one priority. So I hope this was helpful today. Ladies, check out the book come January. I'm going to have a big announcement on Instagram. So if you're on Instagram, follow me there. If you're on Facebook, like the page Better Love Movement and follow me there. I will put out big announcements, and I'm looking forward to connecting with you through this book and then the follow-up book that's going to be coming later in late spring, early summer. And thank you so much for joining me. And as always, stay open to love.